So, you want 5 clever passes that will split defenses wide open. Well, good. You got it. It's done. That's what we're doing today.
Yeah, passes that can open a defense are always fun to have in your locker. And while you can put a teammate through with a simple instep pass in a lot of scenarios, sometimes the situation calls for something special that can really unlock a sturdy defense. And after today, you're the guy holding the keys.
And the first pass I want to talk about is the early cross, or the deep cross, if you will, which is great if you have a little bit of space in behind the defenders and an attacker running deep that you want to utilize. Because instead of just running down the line so you're level with the box to make like the classic cross, that has a disadvantage because then the defenders also have time, while I run down the line, to go back and crowd the box, meaning that there's less space between the defenders and the keeper for your attackers to utilize. So if you go early, you have an attacker making that run. If you make a curved pass behind the defenders, hopefully, if you get it right, your attacker can run right into it. So you are looking for that curved pass that's a little bit ahead of them, meaning that they can just run right into it instead of just having to stop and wait for it, in which case the defenders will eat them. And then it's just a matter of getting the curve and the height right. So try, if you can, to get the curve on it, hit the ball a little bit below the middle, out to the side with that part of your instep, and then make sure that the follow-through goes across your body to generate the swerve. And also, get a little bit of height on it, some dip, so it just comes down to their feet as they run into it. And it's just a matter of practice, really. Set up the goal as your target, some poles, defenders, cones, whatever. Get a rebounder, take some passes, and then just go at it until you nail that. But another pass that can be a killer when it comes to opening up defenses is something as classic as the 1-2. And I know it sounds a little bit daft, but essentially the idea behind the 1-2 is that you draw a defender out, and then normally you'd have the choice to try and beat them in a one-on-one situation. But if this is a center back, great by the way, if this is a center back, usually they're quite a lot bigger than me. The young guys are also really fast, so there is a risk that I'm gonna lose the ball. But instead, if they face me up, I have a teammate dropping over to me. I can basically just give a little pass to them, keep running, and they're gonna pass the ball back to me with their first touch. Because that means that unless the defender is really, really clever, that happens sometimes, but they will see me, I'm a threat, they will come to me, I pass the ball, they will follow the ball, and all of a sudden, as the ball is passed around them, I have a lot of empty space in behind the defender to utilize. And that's it. It's not rocket science to make a 1-2, except for the fact that you need to have the timing and the understanding with your teammate that the 1-2 is what's gonna happen. And of course also you need to make sure that the passes between you guys are good. Like just this weekend, I was the guy being passed to, and my 2 pass, the return pass, it wasn't great. So the other midfielder took the ball, dribbled half the pitch, and scored a banger. So yeah, that wasn't great. But the essence is 1-2, really great to just go around the defender without having to risk the ball. Or you can do what is called playing on the third man, where you play the ball to your teammate, and then you keep running. You might not get the ball, but you keep running because they might play the ball to another teammate, draw even more defenders out, and then all of a sudden you have a lot of space up here that you can get the ball into. So whether it's a 1-2 or a 1-2-3, playing on the third man, doing that instead of just dribbling all the time, it's clever, you know? That's the key. Unlocks things, you know? And then we have what I guess we can call the semi-no-look through ball, because it's not all no-look, that would be really difficult. But it works really well if you're dealing with a relatively compact defensive line and you want to make this really sharp, like cut-through ball to one of your attackers making a deep run. So let's say that I am either a winger or an attacking midfielder. I'm cutting in from out on the wing. And I'm also imagining that I have some attackers in the middle of the pitch. They're trying to make that deep run to get in behind and be alone with the keeper, right? So what I can do here is that once I face up my first defender is that I take a touch into the pitch, a little bit backwards. And once I do that, I start to scan. Because once I start to scan, the defenders are thinking, okay, he's taking there's a little pause here. He's assessing all his options over there. But if my attacker is then making the run behind them into the box, I can see them out of my peripheral vision, so I can just go like that. Boop. Did you see what I did there? Just a little cheeky, very sharp through ball in behind the defenders. It doesn't have to be much more than that. So if you just come in, you see them, and you just boop, make that. See my foot here? I basically just almost slap the ball, make sure to hit it a little bit above the middle, and I just stop my foot. Because that means that you keep it low to the ground, you keep it relatively sharp, and it's not the hardest pass in the world. You just need to get it in behind so your attacker can run into it, use their momentum, get close to the keeper, score a goal, you're the hero, and you unlock things. You get it? It's not no look. You don't have to look down here when you make the pass. Just make sure to not look at where you want to put the ball, and you'll be golden. You're pulling out the master key from yeah? Good. But then, of course, there is also what, in my head, is the Bruno Fernandes special. The cross-field ping pass to switch sides, which is brilliant if you're on the counter and you're drawing opponents in while you have a teammate dashing deep on the other side of the pitch. In which case, you want to get the ball over there to them and quick. Which means that you don't go for a long version of the early cross. No, you go for something that gets the ball there right now so they can just run into it and go down, score some goals. And that is the ping pass, which is this very hard, direct, linear pass that just goes in a straight line, no swerve on it, so that hopefully your teammate can run right into it. So let's say that I have a teammate, right around the halfway line. They're running at full speed, which means that I need to get the ball quite a lot ahead of them so it has time to travel and they can run into it. And the best way to do that is to make the ping pass, where I basically come in, I approach the ball relatively dead on, little bit of angle. I make sure that my standing foot is pointing where I want to put the ball. This is important. And then I hit it right at the center, a little bit below the middle of the ball. I hit it basically flat with my instep, and I almost stab the ball. Meaning that once I've hit the ball, my follow-through needs to be very, very short. So I almost just stop my foot to ensure that I don't put any spin on it because I have a follow-through going all the way across my body, right? That is important. That's how you do the ping. And of course, timing is important. Just try to make sure you don't get that much air time on it, but you make it low, purposeful, direct. Take a little touch, look up, see your teammate, and then you make the pass. Boom. And the final pass that's really clever and can really open up defenses is the pass that you don't make. Which sounds really stupid, but hear me out. Because if the situation, the scenario doesn't really allow you to make that killer through ball and put your teammate in a situation where they can score, well then, you don't make the pass. And that could be, for instance, that you're facing a really low, compact defensive block where there's no space in behind. Or it could be that your teammates simply don't make the runs. Or it could be that you receive the ball with your back to goal and you'll have to really turn around in order to... Sometimes it just doesn't work. So either you will need to create a situation, that could be that if you get the ball, you start running towards the goal and you either call for a run, number 9, go deep, or you simply just tell your teammate, come close. The defender comes at you, you make the 1-2, you have space behind, you're in on goal, magic happens. Or if that's not a possibility either, you know what you're gonna do? You're gonna keep the ball, you're gonna pass it back where it came from, your team might shuffle possession to the other side, maybe something happens, maybe it comes back, and there's a new situation where you might be able to do something. Or you're just gonna do the whole thing again. So the key here is to make sure that you don't risk the ball by doing some sort of pointless pass where you're sure of losing it, but you keep it until the opportune moment arrives. Says, great point, Jay. But you know what I mean. Be clever. Don't just pass for the sake of the pass. Wait for the moment and then pass. That's what smart players do. So that was 5 clever passes that can split defenses wide open and put your teammates in a position to score some goals. But do you have any other examples of really clever, deadly passes, or do you want to see something else in the future? Well, as always, let us know in the comments right down below. If you want new football boots or new football gear, hit the link to Unisport right over there. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel with the notifications on. Leave a like if you had a good time. And with those words, well, okay, of course, if you want more tutorials, they're down there. But with those words, I'll be signing off. Cheerio.